Let me be honest with you today. Most people go through their entire lives feeling stuck. They wake up every morning with the same heavy feeling in their chest. They dream about a better life, a better job, more money, more peace. But somehow years pass and nothing changes. They are still in the same place, carrying the same regrets, making the same excuses. And the saddest part is they truly believe something outside of them is responsible for their situation. But here is the truth that very few people are willing to say out loud. The reason most people stay stuck has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with opportunity or intelligence or luck. The real reason, the honest reason, is something much simpler. It is the absence of discipline. That single word carries the power to completely change a human life. And today, I want to talk to you about exactly that. I want to be honest, direct, and I want you to walk away knowing something real. We live in a world that loves to sell shortcuts. Everyone is talking about the fastest way, the easiest path, the secret method. And people buy into it because it sounds comfortable. It sounds like you can get everything you want without giving up anything. But deep inside, you already know that is not how life works. You already know that nothing truly valuable ever came without real effort. You have lived long enough to understand that truth better than anyone else in this room. Discipline is not a punishment. It is not something strict teachers or tough parents used to enforce on you. Discipline is simply the daily effort you put into your life even when you do not feel like it. It is the decision you make every single morning to show up for yourself regardless of how tired you feel or how uncertain things seem. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. One day you feel fired up and ready. The next day you feel exhausted and lost. Discipline does not care about how you feel. It simply keeps moving forward. Think about any person you genuinely admire. Think about anyone who has built something meaningful with their life. They were not always motivated. They did not always feel like working. They did not always have perfect conditions or perfect timing. What separated them from everyone else was that they worked anyway. They showed up anyway. They kept going even when every voice inside told them to stop. That is what real discipline looks like. It is quiet and consistent and incredibly powerful. I want to share something personal with you now. There was a time in my life when I was completely lost. I had failed important exams more than once. Each time I faced those results, the shame that followed was almost unbearable. I remember sitting in a small room, staring at the wall, wondering what was wrong with me. Why could everyone else seem to figure things out while I stayed behind? It is a feeling very hard to describe unless you have lived through it yourself. After those failures, I started applying for jobs. I sent out applications, prepared for interviews, and sat in waiting rooms feeling hopeful. Then came rejection after rejection. Not 5 rejections, not 10. I was rejected close to 30 times. 30 times I was told no. 30 times I walked away feeling smaller than when I walked in. The doubt that builds inside you after that kind of repeated rejection is something very real. It whispers to you constantly. It tells you that maybe you are simply not good enough for anything better. During that period, I made excuses the way most people breathe. I told myself I would start working on things tomorrow. I told myself I was too tired today. I said the timing was not right, or I was waiting for the right opportunity, or things would improve on their own. Every single day that I repeated those excuses, I was slowly handing control of my life to something I had no power over. I was waiting for circumstances to change instead of changing myself. That is one of the most dangerous places a person can live, inside their own mind. The waiting continued for longer than I want to admit, and absolutely nothing changed. Because nothing was going to change. I was sitting completely still and expecting life to move on my behalf. The world does not reward waiting. The world does not reward wishing. The world responds to consistent, disciplined, deliberate action. And until I understood that fully, I was going to stay exactly where I was, going nowhere, feeling nothing but frustration and quiet shame. Then came a moment. It was not dramatic. There were no fireworks, no sudden revelation. It was a quiet moment alone, very early in the morning. When I finally admitted the truth to myself, I admitted that waiting for motivation had gotten me absolutely nowhere. I admitted that the excuses I had been making were not protecting me. They were destroying me. In that quiet, honest moment, something shifted. I made a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, a real decision. I was going to force discipline into my life whether I felt ready or not. That first week was genuinely painful. Waking up early felt like fighting against my own body. Sitting down to read when I wanted to rest felt unnatural. Working on ideas when I could see no results felt completely pointless. Everything inside me wanted to return to the comfortable routine of doing nothing and hoping things would improve. The pull toward comfort is incredibly strong, and do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Choosing discipline over comfort is one of the hardest things a human being can do, especially in the very beginning. But I kept going, not because I felt inspired, not because everything was working out beautifully. I kept going simply because I had made a promise to myself, and slowly, very slowly, things began to shift. The early mornings stopped feeling like a battle. The reading began to open doors in my mind I did not know existed. The ideas I was working on started taking small but real shapes. The progress was quiet and nobody around me could see it yet. But I could feel it. Something inside me was waking up after a very long sleep. Rejection started to feel different too. They still stung, but they no longer destroyed me the way they once did. Because I had started building something inside myself that was stronger than rejection. I had started building the muscle of discipline. A disciplined person looks at a rejection not as a final answer, but as one step in a longer journey. Every single time I kept my promise to myself and did the work I said I would do, I became slightly stronger, slightly more capable, slightly more sure of who I actually was. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you start to trust yourself. That might sound simple, but the impact of it is enormous. Most people have broken so many promises to themselves over the years that they no longer believe their own words. When you tell yourself you will do something, and then you do not do it, a small piece of self-trust disappears. Do that enough times, and you no longer believe anything you tell yourself. You feel weak. You feel unreliable. You feel like you cannot count on your own decisions anymore. Discipline reverses that completely. Every morning you wake up at the time you said you would. Every task you complete that you promised yourself you would complete. Every temptation you resist that you told yourself you would resist. You are depositing something into your own account of self-trust. When that account starts growing, something powerful happens. You begin to walk differently. You begin to speak differently. You carry yourself with a quiet confidence that has nothing to do with arrogance and everything to do with knowing your own strength. When people around you feel that quiet confidence, something interesting happens. They begin to trust you. They see you as reliable, as someone who follows through, as someone worth counting on. Opportunities in life do not come to people who are always complaining or always distracted. Opportunities come to people who have demonstrated through their actions that they are serious, that they are prepared, that they are the kind of person worth trusting with something important. That reputation is built entirely through consistent discipline. Real discipline in daily life means controlling the small things. It means controlling how you spend your time each day. It means controlling how you respond when something frustrates or upsets you. It means controlling your habits, because those small things you do every day without thinking are building either a strong life or a weak one. Your habits are the quiet architecture of everything you are. The people who are healthy, financially stable, and genuinely at peace did not arrive there through luck. They arrived through disciplined daily choices that most people around them never saw. Discipline also means choosing growth over comfort every single day. Comfort in small doses is fine, but comfort as a lifestyle is a slow trap. When everything is always easy and nothing ever challenges you, you stop growing. And a person who stops growing starts fading. The body weakens, the mind dulls, the spirit shrinks. Human beings are built to overcome, to create, to push forward. When we stop doing that, something essential disappears from our lives, and we can feel it even when we cannot name it. Here is the first great lesson discipline taught me. Motivation is temporary. It appears when things feel exciting and vanishes the moment things get hard. Waiting for motivation before you take action is like waiting for perfect weather before you step outside. You will wait your entire life. Discipline is entirely different. Discipline is not a feeling. It is a decision you repeat. You wake up and you choose to do the right thing. You do it again tomorrow, not because you feel like it, but because you have decided this is who you are now. When you practice a decision long enough, it stops being a decision and becomes part of your identity. The second lesson is about consistency. Talent is something many people are born with and never fully use. Consistency is far less common and far more valuable. A talented person who works only when inspired will always be overtaken by an ordinary person who shows up every single day without exception. Think about how a river cuts through rock, not with one massive force, but with the same gentle, consistent movement, day after day, year after year, until the rock has no choice but to give way. You do not need to be the fastest or the smartest. You need to be the one who keeps showing up long after everyone else has quit. The third lesson is about sacrifice. This is the one people resist the most. The idea that you must give something up in order to gain something better. Early mornings, focused work, less entertainment, delayed rewards. The word sacrifice sounds heavy, but what it really means is simply choosing your future over your present comfort. Every single day you make choices, and each choice is either investing in your future or quietly borrowing against it. The people who built real lives chose the long road over the short one. And eventually, the long road delivered what the short road never could. The fourth lesson is about how discipline attracts opportunity. People talk about luck as if it simply falls from the sky onto random people. But look closely at the lives of people who attract good opportunities, and you will see they were prepared. They had been working quietly for a long time. They had developed skills, built habits, maintained their health, kept their word. And when the right moment appeared, they were ready for it. A disciplined person is calm under pressure, reliable, and focused. These qualities make people want to work with them, invest in them, and trust them with something important. The fifth lesson is the most personal one. Self-control builds real confidence. Not the kind that comes from being praised by others, the deep, quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are in control of your own life. When you control how you spend your money, the financial anxiety slowly disappears. When you control how you react to difficult people, you stop giving others the power to destroy your peace. When you control your time, the helpless feeling that your days are being stolen from you begins to fade. This kind of confidence cannot be bought or borrowed. It is built through thousands of small daily choices made over a long period of time. Now let me talk about practical steps, because ideas without action are just pleasant thoughts. The most important place to begin is with your morning. Wake up at the same time every day. This signals to your mind and body that you are serious, that you are in control, that the day belongs to you. In that first hour, keep the phone away. The phone is the greatest thief of morning peace and morning potential. Use that first hour to move your body, read something worthwhile, and plan your day with clear intention. People who own their mornings own their days. People who own their days own their lives. After the morning, turn your attention to your money. This does not require you to earn more right now. It requires you to pay attention to what you already have. Track what you spend, not to restrict yourself harshly, but to understand where your resources are actually going. Many people have no idea how much disappears on small things that add very little to their lives. Start saving something before spending on anything. Even a small amount saved consistently becomes something significant and meaningful over time. Protecting your focus is the next essential discipline. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Every notification, every alert, every unnecessary distraction costs you more than you realize. When your attention is constantly scattered, you cannot build anything meaningful. Work on one thing at a time and finish it before moving to the next. Remove things from your environment that exist only to distract you. This one simple habit of protected, focused attention will separate you from almost everyone around you in terms of what you are actually able to accomplish. Your body carries everything else, and without physical health, none of the other disciplines are sustainable. Movement matters deeply. Walking, stretching, simple daily exercise that gets the body working and the blood flowing. What you eat shapes your energy levels far more than most people acknowledge. And sleep is not a luxury or a weakness. It is the most important recovery and restoration tool you have. Protecting your sleep is protecting your capacity to function at the level you need to in order to build the life you want. End each day with a brief and honest review. Spend a few quiet minutes asking yourself whether you honored the promises you made to yourself that day. Did you use your time well? Did you handle difficult moments with wisdom or with impulse? This nightly reflection is not about guilt or self-punishment. It is about learning and growing from each day rather than simply surviving it. Planning the next day the night before is equally important. Going to sleep with a clear intention for tomorrow is one of the most underrated habits any person can build into their life. Here is the method that makes all of this actually work in real life. Do not try to change everything at once. That approach always leads to failure because the mind and body resist too much change too quickly. Choose one habit. Just one. The one that feels most important to you right now. Practice that single habit every single day for 30 days without any exception. After 30 days, it will begin to feel natural. Then add a second habit. This patient layered approach is how lasting change is genuinely built. Not through dramatic overhaul, but through steady, deliberate daily addition. The momentum that builds from this process is extraordinary. After 3 months, you will barely recognize your daily rhythms. After 6 months, you will look back with genuine amazement at how far you have come. After a full year of disciplined, consistent effort, you will be standing somewhere your previous self could only dream about. This is not an exaggeration. This is simply what disciplined effort produces when applied consistently over real time. The math of daily discipline always works in your favor if you are patient enough to let it. The time for excuses has passed, not in a harsh way, but in a truthful way. Every excuse you continue to make is a wall you are building around your own potential. The difficulties you have faced are real, and nobody is dismissing them. But the question is not whether you have had challenges. Every human being has faced hard things. The question is what you are going to do now with the time and the ability you still have. Stop waiting for other people to create the right conditions for you. Stop telling yourself you will start when things get easier. Things do not get easier on their own. They get easier when you get stronger. I want you to do one specific thing today. Write down one important action, just one, that you know would make a real difference in your life if you actually did it tomorrow. Then make yourself a real promise that you will complete that action no matter what comes up, no matter how tired you feel or how busy the day becomes. Complete it, because that single completed action will do more for your confidence and momentum than 100 motivational speeches could ever do. That is where real change begins. Not in grand plans, but in one kept promise. Discipline is love for the person you are capable of becoming. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are sending a message to yourself and to the world that you take your own life seriously, that you believe your future is worth fighting for today, that you respect yourself enough to do the hard things even when nobody is watching. That message repeated daily through your actions and habits and choices builds a life that is genuinely worth living. A life built not on luck or circumstance, but on the quiet, powerful foundation of self-respect and consistent, purposeful effort. Real freedom does not come from having no responsibilities. Real freedom comes from being in full command of your own mind, your own time, your own choices, and your own future. That kind of freedom is not given to anyone. It is earned slowly, daily, through the practice of discipline. Every early morning, every kept promise, every temptation resisted, every hour invested wisely adds one more brick to that foundation. And when enough bricks are laid, you will stand on something solid and look at your life with the deep satisfaction of knowing you built it yourself. This is your moment. The discipline you choose today will write the story of your tomorrow. Make it a story worth reading.